Football with friends is fun as hell. My name is Alex Dunlap. Oh man, how pumped I am to be here today. Big day, a victory Thursday. Man, we've flown through the week. Flown through the week. It's already Thursday. Tomorrow we're going to be coming on here. We'll have Cody Carpentier on the show, and for a final takes Friday. And then we'll be able to log off, and we'll be able to watch the Washington Oregon game. Are you kidding me, man? We're back. We're back. So good to see everybody here. A couple things to get to before we say what's up to the chat. If you could please remember right here at the top of my show sheet. If you're in here, thanks to everybody who's in here super early. If you can remember just to please like the show. Get ahead of that whole thing good and early. You can also subscribe to the channel. It is indeed free. We have our theme of the day, which is places to eat in Arlington. Well, people are going to be in Arlington. They need to know where to eat. Are there good places? And look, it could be chain restaurants. We're not here to judge. But if there's a good spot that you know about that you can let your friends here on Football with Friends know about, we would certainly appreciate that. I have a conspiracy theory that I wanted to talk about involving Spencer Rattler. Sark had his availability today. We got some updates from him. Some kind of interesting Sark always gives some interesting insight on Thursday. So I'll be here as your coach speak whisperer to make sure that we can get through this and see what it means. We have Joel Klatt saying that we need that if you're a Texas fan or somebody with any interest in what's going to be happening with Texas here in the college football playoff, that we need to be rooting for Alabama all of a sudden. We're gonna talk about that, see if that makes any sense to anybody out there. Our guy Donald Hawkins, Dhawk, who was on earlier in the week. Apparently, he has some things he wants to get off his chest. So he wanted to come on today. I'm not sure when, but we sent Dhawk the link. So maybe he'll hop on, maybe he won't. He's a super busy guy with all these athletes he's training up there in DFW. How to attack OSU. So we'll talk about that. I managed to watch back the BYU game today. A couple things really stuck out to me, and shamefully, I kind of went to Cockamamie PFF to see if what I was seeing with my eyes was something that they were seeing with their creepy eyes. And sure enough, it looks to be the case. Texas peaking at the perfect time. My column today over at Orange Bloods, wrapping up the deep dig. I just want to just kind of talk about that, touch on some of the highlights from that thing, and also. Is it Braylon James? Blake is he the one from Stony Point, the wide receiver, super raw last year?
Yes.
So he is gotten into the transfer portal from Notre Dame. I think that could be some interesting
for us. The portal's heating up.
Really for us to kind of keep an eye on there with that. Just a reminder, we have the War Room coming out tonight on Orange Bloods. I don't know what's going to be said about some of this transfer portal stuff, or maybe guys who you might not have considered previously who could be thinking about coming back. There could be some kind of good news that some of these dudes are even thinking about this. I probably won't get into too much of that, but just
it's War Room Day though, Alex. So
yeah,
there's going to be some good stuff.
Little bit of a note, man. I would definitely make a note to check out the War Room tonight. Just a little bit of a tease there with that. But yeah, man, the Sark availability, we definitely learned a lot there. All right, so let's say what's up to the chat here. We got Money B. We in the building, of course. Money B. So good to see you, Blake Winfrey. Text guy too. Oh gosh, Joel. So he's already talking about the Joel Klatt stuff. Joel Klatt said Texas has a better resume than Oregon. Period. So how about that? Joel Klatt to me is like
Joel Klatt has been one of the most pro Texas guys I can think of over the last 10 years.
Which we always talk about is like, it's so crazy after Drew Kelson scrambled his eggs at the old Reliant Stadium that one day. But look, man, I'll say what's up to the rest of the chat, man. And then we'll get back to this Joel Klatt stuff. Hacker, so good to see you, my friend. Tyler Finley, great to see you. Oh, look, Blake's in the chat.
Blake, we were going back and forth with some Office Space references.
Okay, well, always great to have.
Tyler Finley started with this one. Klatt is a straight shooter with upper management written all over him.
Not gonna.
And so I then said to Boo Corrigan, "What would you say you do here?"
not gonna work here anymore. I know that for sure, right? That's my favorite one, man. When he's trying to say Samir's last name. Let's see. Colin Crowder, so good to see you. Jay Ward. I think Jay Ward sent us a picture of some dead ducks earlier. We might need to get those up on the screen at some point. Richard Arias, so good to see you, my friend. Robert Kemp, Alan Makeda, great to see you, buddy. Doug Arrington for sure. Cody Carpentier, of course. Oscar Elizondo. In between lab sessions, one day the man will be very, very rich. Blake May, so good to see you, Blake. It's like Blake May every time I yell at Blake. My goodness, Blake May must just kind of jump out of his seat. Let's see. Miguel Angel Diaz says, Flying Fish, 300 Abrams in Arlington. Great Gulf Coast seafood. See, we're already helping each other out, right? We're already helping out. Oh, Tyler Finley yesterday, the puppy pick. So it was actually a female. She's named Penny.
Penny. Okay.
Great to see you.
Oh, I don't know. Have you been to Manning's in New Orleans?
No. Is that
place is badass. It's really cool.
Where is it? What's like location wise?
It's over by Harrah's.
Oh,
which is kind of
okay. Yeah.
Not too far from downtown, not too far from
like right there. It's right there.
Yeah, it's a cool spot. They have like recliners that you can reserve in front of like all these TVs. It's like a sports book, but it's it's just a restaurant.
Hold on, what is this? What is this? Ted Apare saying that I've been having trouble with my TPS reports. Do you know the thing about one thing I'll say? Office Space, all time great movie, right? All time great movie. 2/3 of the way through, it kind of really falls off for the end, right? Every part that you can remember basically happens prior to the point that they go to Drew's house for the party, right? It's like everything after that.
Does the destroying of the copier happen before or after that point?
Oh God, no, man. That's one of the best parts, dude. Yeah.
No, that's one of the best parts. But is that before or after the party? I was trying to remember.
Oh, that's before. That's before. It's at that party whenever Drew talks about Jennifer Aniston. I forget her name on the thing, but where he tells her that about her and Lumberg. And their relationship starts to fall apart, and so like after that, it's everything's not quite as not quite as funny after that. But anyway, yeah, dude, I was any kind of Office Space. Peter Gibbons, Samir not going to work here anymore. Michael Bolton, golly, man. Okay. Office Space
pick from Jay Ward.
That's one. I'm not sure he's going to make it, Blake. I'm not sure he's going to make it through this.
I know nothing about ducks.
Me either. I can't even tell. He said it's a wood duck. So I guess it's he said it's a wood duck for the wall. I mean, it certainly looks pretty, man. It certainly looks pretty. Look at the little thing, but I just like I always say, man. Anytime I get my feet wet and I'm cold and the water squishing between them, I can't stand the cold as it is. Add in the wet. I'm just like, I don't think that the duck gives you quite enough meat to go through all that.
Oh yeah, no, that's fair.
Super
dead.
I don't think he's gonna make it. Michael, my business says he's taking the Pavia more on rushing yards out, dude. I mean, Pavia never lets you down. Just so don't even worry about that one. So Klatt today, I thought it was interesting because Nash tweeted it out and then Anwar responded it or posted it on X, and Anwar responded and said, "This doesn't work because if Alabama beats Georgia, there's no way that the committee is going to put Georgia out and put Texas in. Right? What Texas needs is they need Washington, or no, they need FSU, and then they need just Alabama to be a 2-loss team. Right? Now, for me, I kind of agree with Klatt to a certain degree. I know it's probably not right because I think what he's talking about is from just a background of just common sense, right? The fact that if Alabama beats Georgia, Alabama's in, right? Alabama's in, and this is all assuming, of course, that this is all under the assumption that that Texas beats Oklahoma State, which I think is likely to happen, especially after. Gosh, there's some ways that Texas can. We're going to talk about all that stuff, but the if it he says that Alabama, if they have to be in, they have to drag Texas with them. There's no way that they can't. Because of the fact that Texas beat them in their own house. And no matter what you say about the 8 games since and how the team's grown and all this stuff, like all that stuff, man, that's all like window dressing. That's like, if we're talking about y'all's bad Thanksgiving dinners, it's like that's the mac and cheese and the corn and stuff. That's not the turkey. That's not the ham. The ham and the turkey is did you beat this team? Like, did you beat this team? Could you imagine if what if somehow Oklahoma stayed a one-loss team, and come the end of the season somehow. Well, I guess that wouldn't happen because they would play each other in the Big 12 championship. But if something like that were to happen, and somebody were to say, yeah, well, we're going to go ahead and put Texas in over Oklahoma. Even as a Texas fan, wouldn't you say, wait, that you take it, but wouldn't you say, like, God, we got away with one there. These dudes beat us.
Yeah,
we get in and they don't. Are you kidding me? So Tyler Finley saying, I have a hard time finding a path for Texas to be in. No,
the obvious path is simple. The non-chaos path is Florida State loses to Louisville and Georgia wins, and Texas is in.
Yep. I was looking at do you think that Ryan Sanborn is that this is a complete opposite deal, Blake? But do you think
Sark punters?
Do you think Ryan, because Sark earlier in his availability, and we'll get into everything he said at the availability, but hold on, I'm gonna eat to this. He sent link. Okay. When I went to Cockamamie PFF and just looked at some of this stuff, because Sark was saying earlier, here, before we talk about Sanborn, all right, hold on. So he's just saying, assuming we leapfrog Ohio State, of course Texas.
Yeah. No, don't worry about Ohio State.
Yeah, because the thing about this is, at the point in time whenever they have to be making the decisions, gosh, I hate this little light that happens right here at the beginning of the show. When it comes time to be having to make decisions, they're gonna be thinking about Texas as now the Big 12 champion Texas, who is 12-1, and I think ostensibly likely to be a team coming off of 2 of their we don't know what's going to happen versus Oklahoma State, but based on the way that it feels like Texas is sort of peaking right now, if we can expect a game where they cover against these guys, win by 20 points, something like that, they'll be like, man, they're playing their best football right now. They're the Big 12 champion. It's like, how can we have an Ohio State ahead of them? Certainly FSU wouldn't if they lost. And then you begin having the conversations about the Pac-12 teams and the things that could happen on Friday night. And I understand how that could sort of come into the equation. But dude, saying that you don't see a pathway there are multiple pathways for Texas where Texas simply walks in. What I'm saying is, in a scenario that people view as unfavorable right now, I thought that was interesting that Joel Klatt was saying that's actually what we, if we saw that would be something that fans should be rooting for. I agree with you. But
this is the thing. But no matter what Klatt says, what anyone in the media says, the committee is going to do whatever they think. Like they're just going to sit in a room and go, I guess we'll go with these teams, and that's what it's going to be.
How many bigger voices are there out there than Joel Klatt, though? Who's out there saying this? Are you telling me this week of all weeks is a week where the committee is not going to be kind of listening, tuning into what the constituency says, tuning into what the various pundits and national influencer types like the Joel Klatts of the world? I haven't heard like Herb Street or anybody say anything about this, but certainly, like I mentioned last week, you saw the guys on the big noon Saturday guys. You know what I mean? It's like, well, hold on, Cody's saying Alabama's already eliminated. What does that mean?
Hold on. Cody sent me his 32 team bracket. Let me pull this up.
32 team bracket. What is this about?
Take this down. Hold on. We can take a look at this. Oh, it's so small, but I'll make it bigger. Give me a second.
Can you freeze? Can you like?
All right, let's take a look at this. Hold on.
What is this bracket?
Can y'all read this?
Yeah, but what is it?
I'm not sure, but it was sent to us via Cody Carpentier.
Cody, explain yourself. Golly. Like you could send Cody a restream link if he wants to come explain this cockamamie bracket. I don't understand even what this is, man. We're just confusing people with this stuff. Man.
People are going to be really confused.
I say get that games that have already been completed this season.
Oh, okay. I see where he's going with it.
I still don't get it. Well,
these are all actual games that have been played to eliminate the teams that are in contention.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? So he's put together this entire bracket of games that have actually been played.
Send that to the committee, Cody.
Send it in.
Okay. Yeah, man. That's okay. Cool. All right. Well, nice work. I guess it's not as cockamamie as I would have thought. Darwin Lemon in the chat, standing up for Cody. So good to see you, my brother. But today, I just wanted to ask you, because I know that Cody had mentioned it the other day about Sanborn being the punter for Texas, being a legit pro prospect and all this stuff. And I was just looking at some of this stuff on PFF, and like I say, PFF is always so cockamamie and dumb. But I'm trying to find any metrics that kind of really show that, and I'm not exactly sure. Oh God, look who we got. We got our guy D.
Pause everything. Hold on.
Pause everything. We got Dhawk. Donald Hawkins, Dhawk.
What's up, brother? How you doing?
Hanging in, man.
Good to be back, man. Good to be back.
Dude, look at that. Look at that shirt, dude. That looks like a team issue kind of. Is that team issue, or did you have to buy that? Okay,
come on, man. It'd be a fan for me to buy this, man. It's team issue.
That's nice though, because it's got the black. You don't often see like the black logo.
They took care of me, man. I made a call down and they took care of me, man.
That's pretty sweet, dude. Well, so we were just talking. I was just talking some of the stuff that Sark said today. He was pretty pissed off about he didn't mention anything about himself with the all Big 12 stuff. He's not going to do that. But he did say Jade Barron and the punter Ryan Sanborn were guys that he was most kind of really, really surprised to see not make first team all Big 12. I know that you probably have some thoughts about what did you think about the all Big 12 selections?
It's funny that you mentioned that. A couple of days ago, I put out my own personal list of guys that I thought would make all Big 12. And out of the list I put up, only one that didn't make it that I was surprised was Quinn. I thought he could have pulled a second team. I didn't think that they would have voted the guy from Kansas State with him splitting reps at the beginning of the year, but they did. I think Quinn missing those 2 games kind of hurt him. But I thought the list was pretty fair. I thought I don't watch DB play that much, right? So I can't sit here and negate if what's his name, Jade. I don't know if he's the first team in the conference. I know he's our best cornerback, and sometimes we got to realize. Sometimes the best DB on our team might not be the best DB in the conference. So I haven't watched the other guys in the conference to compare that. But I know from an O-line and D-line perspective, I thought those were the guys I had making all conference. Those guys made all conference.
Jim Nagy from the Senior Bowl says that Jade Barron's there's an argument to be made that he's the top nickel guy in the whole nation. So it's like to me it feels bad. I'm like you, man. Like some of these DBs, I play defensive end. Like those guys back there, like they do their own thing, right? It's like it's hard for me to watch and really be able to analyze and evaluate those guys the same ways.
I can tell you this. I think for us, I'm gonna always say for us, because I don't know what other nickels are like for other teams. He's a dominant nickel for us. Does he deserve first team? I would say so. If he was on my first team list. So I don't know how that kind of works, though, when you're doing DBs. Are they specifically a mixture of corners, nickels, all in one bunch? Now we got to look at. He might be the best nickel, but I think they might have did DB as a whole. So I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Well, so what do you think about there? I was talking earlier with this. I heard Joel, Joel Klatt, the guy on Fox.
Yeah, I like
Klatt.
him. I like him a lot.
Yeah, man. So he's always real level headed and stuff, and he feels like he's always kind of fair to Texas, even though he played Texas as a player and everything, and had that rivalry at Colorado during the time whenever they used to play, and he was saying on his show today that he was saying that Texas fans should be rooting for Alabama to beat. So you agree? You agree? You think that that's a legitimate pathway?
I agree. I agree. So one of the biggest statements he makes, and is very clear. The committee has showed us week after week that they value head to head. If they wanted to, everybody wants Alabama to be over Texas, right? It's a reason why they've been behind us week to week. They value head to head. So I don't think you can put Alabama in the playoffs without putting Texas in. This is why I say this, right? Cool. You're talking about an SEC champ, right? Their only loss came from a Texas. Now, if Alabama goes to be SEC champ, you're talking about this is the best team in the SEC. Not the SEC West. We're talking the best SEC team, period. They beat Georgia. They ran through everybody. They only loss came to the Big 12 champs. So if the Big 12 champs beat the SEC champs, how do you leave them out of the playoff? It makes no sense.
Well, but I mean, Dhawk, it's like, but the thing is, I don't think that I think this committee is kind of cockamamie and weird, dude. Everything like they because you ask them, you're like, all right, well, what's the criteria here? And they're like, well, we just kind of leave it up to each member on their own to just like do it, And it's like, well, are you going to be looking eyeball test for some teams? Are you going to be looking at head to head for some teams? Or are you going to be looking at margin of victory for other teams? Like, it doesn't feel like there's and it's a big deal, man. Like I was saying yesterday, this stuff. People care about. I mean, it's like people care about this. It's like this is your college football. This is your college football postseason, man. And like for these players, these coaches, man, a lot of times this can mean for coaches, it can mean like big bonuses that they get, and you know what I mean. For these guys that put in all this work, all year to be able to just some flippant dude saying like, yeah, man, Texas doesn't really pass the eyeball test for me the same way that this is like all the rest.
So, man, I didn't turn to him while I was being a very passionate player. But this year, I've been watching all the games. I've been fortunate to go to, I think, 4 games, going to the Big 12 championship. But after that, I watch a lot of the games on replay, and I watch Texas, right? So a lot of people say Texas hasn't really passed the eye test, right? And you can say what you want to say, right? Cool. And everybody's entitled to their opinion. But what they can't say, besides Oklahoma, Texas hasn't really trailed in any game besides Oklahoma. So for you to say that we haven't passed the eye test, well, why haven't no one beat us? Yeah, we done blew leads, but we never trailed. Now, if you're talking about Florida State, they have trailed in those games.
No,
we never trailed. We just blew leads. So,
right.
So what are we saying? Because we don't look as dominant as Oregon. They're playing nobody. The one team they test them, they lost to. Georgia, who really test them? Missouri?
Yeah.
Missouri won't play away from winning. They don't throw the interception. They're going back and forth for Georgia. Who tested Alabama? Texas? So what are we saying? Now we go back to the Oklahoma loss. If you never really played in that game, you really don't understand.
What do you mean?
When I say this, you don't understand. When you're playing Oklahoma, right? It doesn't matter what the record is. Doesn't matter who you have on your team. The whole offseason, we are bred to whoop Oklahoma. Now, I've been.
Is that something that they were literally like in the springtime and the whole time?
Yes. From spring, the summer to the fall. My junior year, my first year on campus, I got hurt in that game. I think Oklahoma might have bested us by like 30 points.
You got hurt in the game?
I got hurt in the game, first half.
Like early in it?
Yeah, early in the game. They bested us by like 30 points, right? The whole offseason, all we wanted was revenge. So what do you think those Oklahoma kids would think when they got beat 49-0? All they heard was you got beat 49-0. They came in that thing with a freaking sledgehammer. So was I scared about that game? I was, but I wasn't surprised we did lose that game. When you whoop a team like that, remind you, these are superior athletes. And when I say superior athletes, I get on the subject between Alabama and Georgia. All Alabama is hearing, remind you, I've been on both sides of the spectrum of getting blown out and blowing them out. So it's a mentality thing. So when people say Alabama don't got a chance in hell against Georgia, you forget these are superior athletes. The same superior athlete Georgia has, Alabama has those athletes as well. So you think that these guys not listening to that? It's not building a chip on their shoulder? I was an athlete. It made the one on my shoulder go better because I got a point to prove now. So Alabama's going to have a point to prove, and they're going to probably play their best game of the year versus Georgia. So I'm optimistic that they're going to beat Georgia for that same reason.
Well, I think, man, the world will explode if they beat Georgia and then they don't drag Texas with them to that with that fun. I mean, it would feel totally unfair,
Even
right?
come out of my ear.
Well,
running all the jersey, he knew Donald was getting in the locker room.
Well, dude, like when you brought up OU, I think this is so interesting. Talking to a former player here, of course, Donald Hawkins. Dhawk, you were from like 2012 and 2013.
Yeah, 2 years, 2012, 2013. I was a JUCO transfer.
Yeah. Where did you transfer from, by the way?
I transferred at Northwest Community College in Senatobia, Mississippi, national champion. Don't forget that.
Are you from Mississippi?
I am. I'm originally from Tunica, Mississippi.
Tunica. Oh, they got a bunch of casinos and card rooms there, right?
Yeah. You like to gamble?
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. This show is half football, half gambling, brother. So yeah, man. Yeah. But Tunica, they have the big World Poker Tour thing there and stuff. So.
Since you're a gambling man, bet your money on Alabama this weekend. They're gonna be the big upset of the weekend. Trust me. Right. Trust me word on that.
I love to hear it. I worry myself.
Gotta believe, brother. Gotta believe. Yeah. You gotta believe in the things you don't see.
I know, but what I'm saying is I'm not sure I want to root for that. I'm scared of what might happen.
Tell me why. Tell me your reason why you think rooting for Georgia would be a better outcome for rooting for Alabama. Tell me.
Well, I think that it would be better only if we consider the fact that Louisville would beat FSU, because what that would do, right? So because I feel like if that weren't to happen, FSU has to be in anyway, right? Like I feel like FSU would have to be in anyway. So you would then say, all right, our last hope here can only be that a one-loss Texas would get in over a one-loss Georgia simply by the fact that Alabama could bring them in with them, right? Kind of the theory that Joel Klatt was saying, your general theory. The thing that I wish was true.
Drag them along with them.
Right. The thing that I wish was just true and just inherently true, and something that, like, I don't think there's anybody in the world that, dude, even the Alabama fans in their heart of hearts, they would think like it's not like. They would say it's not fair for us to get in and for them not to get in when we're both one-loss teams and they beat us in our own house. You know, I think even the Alabama fans in their heart of hearts would kind of think that, like, that's just that to me feels like a universal truth. It feels like we can talk about the blurred lines and the gray lines and all the rest of it with everything else, but there's one thing that's like a binary thing: who won and who lost in a head-to-head matchup. So, like, I mean, it makes perfect sense to me. I'm just worried there's going to be a completely unjust, backward system.
Okay, so this is where it gets complicated, right?
It's been complicated.
I think the committee is living off what Georgia did in the past. Those are not the same Georgia teams, bro. Not the same Georgia quarterback. Not the same Georgia D-line. This is a whole different team.
Oh,
they haven't been tested all year. The one test they had was Missouri. Come on now. Missouri went last second freaking field goal against Kansas State. And we was beating them by 20 points with a backup quarterback. So it kind of lets you tells you a little bit about the conference. So as far as this is the way I see it, right? Alabama beats Georgia with no losses in the conference. No losses. They are outright the best team in that conference. They haven't lost no conference game. The only the only undefeated team in the conference was Georgia, and they bested them, right? What are the case we were making for Georgia to get in? They didn't win that conference. They are a one-loss team. We got a conference champion that beat the best team in the SEC, which is the SEC champion. I don't quite see what the confusion is. Are we going? They two-time national champions? That's the past, brother. If
No,
they
I
were
think
so good, why did they lose the game?
yeah. And my dude Money B in the chat saying he's saying the same thing you were. He's like each season should be judged as its own standalone season. I do think there's some credence to the idea that coming into the season, if you finish last season as the champion and there hasn't been all this stuff and all this turnover on your roster, you should probably come into the year as the number one, right?
They was favorite, right?
But I don't. I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying that through the course of the season, like new information becomes available to you. Like the season plays out. Are we talking about the season? Or are we talking about these schools historically? Like right. So that doesn't make much. It doesn't make much sense.
One thing I get so upset about is when someone said we should choose the best 4 teams. Well, how do you determine who's the best 4 teams?
And who are these people? And who elected them? And who chose them? I didn't cast a vote for any of these idiots. Did you cast a vote for any of these people? Do you know how they think?
Born in Grapevine, Texas, which is Dallas, so that's new to me.
Yeah, right. Totally, man. Are you going to the Big 12 championship?
Man, I just cashed my ticket in today to go, man. So I can't miss this. I can't miss this. This. I'm very excited. It's probably the longest I've been happy. You don't understand. When you're in the NFL locker room, everybody from different schools, and they talking about your school. Y'all not very good. You guys are terrible. And you got your Longhorn gear on. Now you can rock around town with it on. Everybody's like, hook 'em, go Horns. It's a good feeling about yourself.
Yeah, dude, for sure, man. Is that a common thing in NFL locker? I mean, you kind of hear about guys. You hear about guys kind of making side. I mean, they can't gamble and stuff. They make side bets.
So as you can, not NFL, but yeah, everybody got the little side bets. I remember one year. It's embarrassing to say, me and Coach. Correct me when I'm wrong. What's his name? John Rivera. He was my coach in Carolina. Ron Rivera. Yeah. He's a Cal guy. We bet at dinner on that game. We ended up losing that game to Cal. That was disgusting.
old Riverboat Ron, man. I think he's about to get canned up there in Washington for sure.
He's a great guy, people's coach. Unfortunately, when you don't got a good roster, man, too much you can do in that league.
Yeah, man, for sure.
It's hard to get wins in that league.
I have a question, man. Like, since we have again, we're here with Donald Hawkins, D-Hawk, and I'm very aware of your time, brother. And so anything you want to get off your chest, you're always free to come here. But as long as I have you, like I like to talk about maybe some football stuff with this OSU game coming up.
Let's talk about it.
Okay. So there's been a lot made this year about Sark versus the 3-3-5 defense, and it was people had said that it's a big issue. I'd always said, if you look at it, it's just that can't be the only thing that you blame for some of these things happening. I felt like it was more less correlation. It's kind of like correlation versus causation type of thing. And we've seen that him versus 3-3-5 teams this year has been it's been just fine. So, but as an offensive lineman, if you watch Oklahoma State, they do get into a 3-3-5 sometimes. How do you treat those odd fronts, specifically in zone runs? How is it different for you and what you need to do on the play side and if you're on the back side?
Gotcha. That's a great question. I like this question because a lot of people don't know this, right? The key to beating a 3-3-5 is really personnel. We are a big 11 personnel guy, right? So in reality, a 3-3-5 shouldn't have a chance because we got 6 blockers on the line of scrimmage to that 3, which means what? Double teams everywhere. Kind of catch my drift. But as far as 10 personnel, when you got 4 wide running back, the biggest key is the tackles. The tackles. What I mean about that, right? So you're running inside zone. The biggest key, we call this a displacement block. It's not a reach block. It's a displacement block. So the reason why it's not a reach block, right? We're talking about inside zone, right? Cool. Because you got to get movement. If you reach the guy and your body's still in the hole, it's no running lane, right? So I want to be able to reach this guy while getting movement, getting vertical movement. We call it vertical displacement. When I played for the Chiefs, they called it a demolition block. I want to get front side, but I want to get movement. I want to get them going vertically on an angle.
But at your same zone angle and in the 3-3-5, is he usually just head up?
45 degree. It's a 45-degree angle. So I'm getting vertical on a 45-degree angle. So if this was me and this is this guy right here, I want to take a 45-degree angle to get me here. It's going to put my body in front of him. But once I get my body in front of him, I want to drive on this angle. A lot of guys, they like to reach a guy and try to turn that butt in the hole.
Yep.
And they position themselves in the hole. And it's no running line. So you want to reach the guy on a 45-degree angle and get vertical.
And so for you, how is that different than how is that different for you than whenever when he's in a 4 than when he's in a 5? Because when he's in a 5, it's always just the traditional reach block.
So we're talking about backside right now. For the guys that don't know in the chat, when I'm talking about reaching a 4-eye, I'm talking about a backside block. So if it's zone left, I'm the right tackle. So the difference between a 3 technique and a 4-eye, let's start right here. A 4-eye and a 5 is different because the 4-eye has inside leverage. The point of the 3-3-5 or 3-3 stack is for those 4 eyes to get penetration so that ball bounce outside. They say the biggest key to killing zone is getting penetration. So that's why they put those guys in 4 eyes, because they have inside leverage and it's hard to reach those guys. Cool. So what was the question you asked? I got a little ahead of myself.
No, I mean, it's kind of like I was just kind of saying, as far as your fundamentals, whenever you're facing the stack, like when you're facing that 4-eye, and also, are you expecting to get help? Are you expected to get like 3-hand technique help from that guard?
Great question. So this is how we'll talk. When you're dealing with a 4-eye, that's a single block. You're by yourself. So this is how you determine between double team and no double team. If the guard is covered, inside zone, backside, that's an automatic double team. When the guard is not covered, you're by yourself. So on a 4-eye, the guard is not covered. For you guys wondering what it's covered and uncovered, it's called uncovered versus covered rules. Uncovered means if the guy's touching you. Cover means the guy's touching you. So anytime you're running the 3-3 stack, guys, you have a 4-eye, a 0 nose, and a 4-eye. So you cannot tell the guard to help the backside tackle. Why? Because the center is on a solo block. So listen to me, guys. Anytime you're going against a 0 nose as a center, that center is going against it's called a 2 technique. What does a 2 technique mean? That means this guy can go A gap, backside A, or front side A. He go either way, right? Cool. So coaches tell the guards, hey, you're on a double with the center. We can't have the center reaching plus side A and there's nobody in the backside A to help him. Kind of catch my drift. They're solo guards, backside guards. You're comboing with the center because he has a 0 technique. A 0 technique is usually got at 2 gaps, which means he played both A gaps.
So, all right. So it always has to be. So on the backside, if he's in a 4-eye and you're the right tackle and it's inside zone left, you're always going to have that 4-eye in a solo base assignment because that guard.
It's not a base. So I got. So for you guys, you got to understand this. It's not a base block. It's a domination, but it's the difference.
Okay.
So a lot of people don't know this. So we got to educate you guys a little bit, right? A base block means I'm basing the guy out. A reach block means it's kind of like your outside zone. You're trying to reach the guy and overtake, right? You're not really trying to drive him up the field. You got to remember, when you're running inside zone, the ball is designated to hit backside A gap. They teach the running back to hit inside leg of the guard or the backside butt cheek of center. So that ball is coming straight to you. So if I'm the right tackle, this ball is designated to hit inside of my shoulder. So I got to cover him up. So when I mean cover him up, I got to get my body between the ball carrier and the defender. Listen to me. I got to get my body between the ball carrier and the defender. That's how you run that block. And that block isn't easy.
I'm sorry.
If the tackle can get that block, it determines your run game. If that tackle makes that block every time, you're running for 200 yards a game. That's the killer.
So I mean, it's kind of counterintuitive, but it's true whenever you look about it and you think about the dynamics of the running back's cutback. Is that one of the most important blocks against that 3-3-5 with the 4-eye is actually the tackle's backside solo. What did you call it? The destruction.
I call it dominant, but you can call it solo. It's not a base block. It's basically it's a solo.
Okay, yeah, that's cool, man. So, but then, can you? And I hate to even like you're so good at explaining this. Is it so? What if you're the left tackle in this spot? What do you do with the 4-eye then?
So. Or is the play coming to you or going away?
Yeah, the play is going to your side.
So if you have a 4-eye inside of you and we're going zone left, it's a combination with the play side guard. But mind you, in zone, for the guys in the comments, zone block is not a man scheme. What does that mean when I say man scheme? You do not have a man. You have a gap. It's the gap scheme play. So if I have a 4-eye, is he touching me or is he not touching me? Oh, crap, he's touching me. But what if somebody outside in the C gap? Well, now I got to abandon that 4-eye. We got to do what we call a fan call. It means I'm fanning out. So why is the tackle going out to the guy that's in the C gap? Because that's his gap. He has a gap, not a man. So now, let's say, for instance, they're in a true 3-3 stack. This is depending on the offensive line coach, right? Cool. So in reality, you're going to be doubling with that guard. Why? Where's the defender at? He's inside of you.
Well, the defender is he's on the guard.
He's inside of you. So remind you, right?
On your inside eye.
Stack, you have 6 defenders for what? 5 who? 5 offensive linemen, right? Cool. So obviously, we're not going to have the tackle fan out to nobody. So the play side tackle and the play side guard, these two guys are going to double team up to this guy. The center and the right guard going to double team up to this guy. Now this backside tackle. He's gonna reach the 4-eye. He got half the solo. Now, what about that 6 defender? Now, either we're gonna beat him with a throw. You guys see Texas do a lot of RPOs, right?
Yeah.
So if they're in a 3-3 stack in the box, that means they're over leveraging us in the box, right? We only got 5 blockers for 6 defenders, right? Cool. That's why you see a lot of RPO to the perimeter. So in a perfect world, we want to get that backside linebacker, this guy right here, to come out and try to play in between the inside receiver and inside the box. So we can get them out a little bit, automatic throw. So you want to call it, when you're a linebacker, they teach you to play the difference. It's called, anybody in the comments know? It's called, it's not APEC. It's called.
To be the hook curl defender?
Yeah, he got to play the difference between the run and the so basically, I forgot. Listen, I forget football a lot, but I know.
But we understand what you're saying. You want to get that guy pulled out. You
want to get him pulled out
of the box, right?
Yes, and the perfect defensive coordinator want that guy to be able to play too. And we can get him out the box a little bit. Now you got 5 defenders for 5 blockers. And at that point, everybody's man on. You kind of catch my drift. Yeah. Now, if you watch some teams like Alabama play, it don't matter if they got 6 defenders. You know why? Because now you got a running quarterback. So you got 6 offensive players. We're 7 for 6 defensive players. Now, who's winning that matchup?
Well, I mean, I would say that Milroe's pretty good. Milroe's pretty good with his feet, man. Right? If you give him the option to have a route attached, I think that's probably,
So say for instance, we had Manning playing. Manning got wheels, right? I think if Manning was more, let's say he was second year in, I think our offense would be more explosive. Because now you got to play 11 on 11. There's no more 11 on 10. What I mean by that, he's a threat to run, which means you got to bring what? More people in the box. Now it requires more one-on-one on the perimeter. So if you watch teams like LSU, I think I looked at the statistic. LSU is probably number 4 in the country in rushing. And most of that rushing yards come from who? The quarterback.
Jaden, yeah.
The guy got like 1,100 yards.
Yeah.
That's like 100 yards per game or something like that. Kind of catch my drift.
Yeah, man, he's good. He's good. Whenever you think about that element, and I'll let you get out of here soon, man. Like,
we can talk, man. Go ahead.
whenever you think about that element, and just kind of thinking forward, I know you're a fan of the team. You think about this stuff deeply, like a lot of us do. Whenever you just think forward, the life after Quinn, considering that Malik Murphy and Quinn Ewers would still be around, and Malik wouldn't leave in the portal or anything like that. Do you? How would you see it playing out with those two guys and what you've kind of seen of them and their skill sets, and maybe if you've kind of been around them, and just how do you compare those two guys vis-a-vis one another going forward? Because eventually it's going to come, if those two are around, eventually it's going to come down to it's going to be a
So I'm gonna not be biased, right? I'm gonna give you my honest opinion. Are we comparing the three? Or are we comparing the two? The bottom two, the three.
Well, I'd love to hear you compare throwing Quinn with them too. I mean, but yeah, but I'd most be interested to hear about, because it feels Quinn's the starter, right? But
Okay, let's talk about the bottom two. Because Quinn Ayers, he is who he is right now.
yeah,
I think if you're talking about explosive plays down the field, that's Malik. Now, one thing Malik's gonna have to clean up, and it comes from experience. A lot of people, you got to understand this. In order to get experience, you got to play. You got to get reps. In order to be experienced or get experience, you have to play to get reps. It's nothing like live reps. You cannot practice reps. It's not the same as live reps.
especially for a quarterback, right, Dhawk, because they can't get hit in practice.
It makes a difference when you know that you throw an interception in practice, that doesn't count against you, and the defense can't sack you. It's a big difference for pass blocking that well in practice. Well, I know this guy's he can't hit the quarterback. So if you train your mind to think he can't hit the quarterback, what happened? During the game, them pressures and getting pushed on the quarterback is turning into sacks in real life. I've been there, done that. So that's why they say you got to practice like it's a game. Real loud. They call it game reps. Practice like game reps. So you can transition over. As far as so
you said the explosive element, you give the award there to Malik, but is it what about just the overall fact of the matter of if Malik did, we saw something out of Arch that we haven't seen out of Malik. Malik is a tank, dude. I go out there to practice and he comes running by you, and literally, dude, like I've said on the show a million times, he's running by you at like a fast jog with full pads. And if your head's not on a swivel, and that guy, if he were to run into me, like 6 foot, 200 pounds, no pads on, he would put me in the hospital. He's a giant man.
Bit, right? Our mind is naturally programmed to think big guy, especially big black guy, he's got to be some type of threat with his feet. In this case, he's not. I think if he could run, he will run. I don't really think he's that mobile. I think I heard people say for the last couple of months that Manning was a better runner. You saw it. We saw it. So I can only say from now what I see with my eyes. It's been plenty of opportunity for Malik to run, but he didn't. It's probably because he think he can make that throw downfield. It's probably the confidence thing. It's nothing wrong with it. But to be successful in college, you got to use your legs. NFL, it's more pocket, get the ball out, quick read. College, things break down, get the first down. And I think as far as Manning, he would definitely give our offense another element. I think our third down percentage will be a lot better if our quarterback was mobile, because it'd be more of a threat of running to get the. Look how many times we didn't get 3rd and 1, 4th and 1.
Oh, especially down in the red zone.
Remember when I said you're playing 11 on 10, not 11 on 11. Now I think somebody mentioned earlier that before he got hurt, he was a threat runner. You are right. It was a couple of times where he did take off and get first down, but since that injury, you don't see that no more. So it definitely hurt us in the sense of not these last couple of weeks, because Blue been able to grind those 1 and 2 yards out, which is the kid I was high on early in the year, because I got to take what I see with my eyes. I'm looking at him. I'm seeing the production. I'm kind of jumping around right now, but I got to take what I see with my eye. But I'm intrigued to see. I know we're gonna bounce Oklahoma State. I'm intrigued to see what the committee does. Hopefully we win by a large margin. I'm talking 38-10, that type of margin. And I'm a big Cardinals fan this weekend. Let's go, Louisville.
yeah, for sure. I thought that you meant NFL. I was like, well, that's interesting. All right, man. Again, he's Donald Hawkins, Dhawk. You can find him on Twitter at that boy. At that boy Dhawk. Hey, dude, just before I let you go, what do you think? Do you even still watch NFL at all? Do you still watch it at all?
Man, to be honest with you, I lied if I told you I did. I schemed through it, depending on who I got on my fantasy, and I kind of try to watch you play. But what's your question?
I was just gonna for one, Dhawk, next year, make sure you know that I own a fantasy football company, and I have my show on Sirius XM.
Oh, I didn't know that. I'm sorry.
So next year, before your draft, let me know. Just mark it down. Say, DM Alex or text me, and I'll make sure to get you a cheat sheet that's gonna get you through. And no, I was just gonna ask you about the Chiefs and just Mahomes and stuff. It feels like.
Go ahead.
Well, it just feels like and Blake, our producer, he laments this all that they have no playmakers. They just don't, man. As far as for Patrick Mahomes this year, outside of Kelsey, and Kelsey looks like he's getting old to me. I was just wondering if you might have seen Kelsey. You thought he's kind of looking a little bit older, and man, what Pat Mahomes is going to have to do to kind of it feels like that defense is going to have to be the thing that really pulls him along, which just seems weird for a Patrick Mahomes team.
Correct me if I'm wrong. The trade deadline is over, right? Yes.
The NFL trade? Oh yeah, that ended. That was right. Yeah.
I think the Chiefs are who they are. I think they're not as explosive when they had Tyreek Hill. I think Kelsey does a lot of things to. When I say a lot of things, we're talking backyard plays. When I say backyard play, you guys ever went played in the backyard? You just told him, like, go here and do that. That's that's the kind of relationship that Mahomes and Kelsey has, and it works for them. You know why it works? Because that's not in the scouting report. You kind of catch my drift? I tell my team this is what they're gonna run, and they go out there and just make some play on the fly. That's why they call it backyard football. So as far as pushing the ball down the field, I watched that last game. No, it was not the last game. I think they played the Eagles. Was that a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah, I think it's 2 weeks.
2 weeks ago, right? It wasn't the Thanksgiving. It was going to be what?
Valdez Scantling dropped it.
It was going to be a go-ahead touchdown. Probably had the guy probably about 5 feet, and he drops it. Yep. They're not good enough for that to happen. They're not good enough for that to happen. I feel like the defense is doing a good job this year. They trying to set the run as their foundation and take shots down the field. That's kind of who they're going to be. That's kind of and Kelsey's kind of your safety blanket. When I say safety blanket, that's the guy you're going to for third down, trying to keep the chains moving. If you can hit these other guys for bombs and get big chunk plays, we call it explosive plays, that's a plus. That's a plus. Yeah. The Chiefs right now, they want to run the ball, take shots down the field. Let's gimmick gadget plays to Kelsey. That's kind of who they are.
Yeah, man. It's going to be interesting to see it. But look, I never count out Mahomes. I just wonder, I'm like, golly, Kelsey's starting to look old, man. It's like, I mean, but look, it happens to all of us.
He is. Oh, what is he, like 35?
He's about. I think he turned. I just looked this up the other day, but he turned 30. I think he turned 34 in October. So
34.
It's kind of he's getting.
Man, you gotta understand that NFL. It's hard, man. It's super hard, bro. It's super hard. The most hard thing about it is the mental aspect. Just getting up every day, 6 o'clock and 1 o'clock in. It's like having a regular job. It's really a regular job, but now you're dealing with the outside noise. It's hard. It's hard mentally. As the season progressed, things look nicks, injuries starting to happen to you, and it takes a toll on you, man. The injury could take a toll on you mentally, so it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah. Well, it's always awesome to have you on, brother. Again, he's Donald Hawkins, Dhawk, man. We look forward to having him.
Can you drop my Twitter to these guys so they can follow me on Twitter and keep up with me?
Yeah, of course. It is at that boy Dhawk, and Blake will put it in Blake will put it in chat. We'll put it up on the screen. We ask you guys, man, mobilize, unite, dude. Just like I ask you guys to like the show. You guys are so good about it. Just please go and give Dhawk a follow. He's nice enough to come on here, school everyone up about this stuff that I'm always that I'm always talking about. It coming from a guy that played at Texas at the highest level at tackle, among the top like 5 tackles Texas has had over the last decade. It's just best to hear from him. So go give Dhawk a follow. Again, Donald Hawkins. Thank you so much, brother. We'll see.
Right,
we will see you again soon, man. All right. So that's Dhawk. Thanks so much to him. And we have Sark's availability. We got to talk about it, man. Sark gave us some updates today, some injury updates, some kind of non updates. But I'll be the coach speak whisperer. I'll tell you what's going on with it next.
And I was talking in a little college football playoff, and there's one particular thing where they had a media conference call yesterday, and I'm sure you've seen the rankings already, right, Alex? You've seen the rankings?
Yeah, I saw.
Yeah. So
cockamamie.
Well, there's one. Someone asked a question, and I just want to get your reaction to the committee response to the question. Aaron's got it queued up for me. And so this is where we're at. I want you to hear this, Alex.
Okay.
Yes, thank you. Could either one of you give me sort of a sense of the pecking order of criteria that the committee will use next week when determining the top 4? And I know this is a hypothetical, but should Alabama and Texas both finish 12-1 with 1 spot available, how do you determine which one gets in?
Hey, this is Bill. Thank you for asking. Those tiebreaker criteria are not prioritized. So it'll be up to the judgment of each committee member which of the tiebreakers are more important to him or her. There's just no established priority for the tiebreakers.
Yeah, and just to add on to that, there's so many great games coming up this weekend. 7 of the 8 teams are playing in conference championship games. And quite frankly, we're all looking forward to watching them. It's been a great year and this season, and we look forward to seeing how it ends up.
So, Alex, when they say, hey, Texas and Alabama, what's the criteria? And what, as far as the tiebreaker is concerned, and when you hear them say there is no criteria, it's just up to the person that, it's up to him or her. I just kind of want to get your reaction to that.
What reaction is it? It's just like every other unelected bureaucracy that we have ruling over parts of our lives that do all kinds of stuff that's so cockamamie and unbelievable that you just can't believe it.
Yeah. Well,
it's like we should be used to this. I mean, they're idiots in control of all kinds of things. Like, look, man, they're gonna take into. Did you hear what they said? They said we don't care about what's real or what's true. We don't care about any of this. Like the head to head, it's like it's gonna be up. It's gonna be up to the people who do we even know who these people like? How do they get who chose them?
I don't know how they get selected.
But see, this is an important deal to a whole lot of people. There are people invested in this. There are people who care a lot about this, right? Who chose these people and who gave them the power to say, like, oh, let me wave my wand. It's like I said on Twitter last night. These are glorified diving judges that hold up a sign that says 9.5 or 9 or something like that. It's just my own subjective personal opinion that's going to trump things that are absolutely true, like the fact that Texas went in to Tuscaloosa and beat that football team. Gosh, who is that guy?
Such a great rant.
He has some
idiots running all sorts of things is like my favorite quote of the year.
It's very true. Do you know who aren't idiots? Specs, man. Why don't we throw this?
Yeah, let's hit them with Specs for sure.
No matter what you're needing, Specs same-day delivery can save the day with our Specs app or online shopping. From world-class wines to hard-to-find spirits and craft beers to gourmet foods, delicious snacks, and spectacular sweets. It's Specs. Cheers to savings.
Oh, yes, it's Football with Friends. I'm Alex Dunlap here, of course, with Blake. Thanks so much to Dhawk for coming on once again. Donald Hawkins. Looking forward to having him. Like, I think he just gets the idea. Sometimes he just thinks he needs to get off his chest, dude. So as long as he has things he wants off his chest, he'll always be welcome.
That was great. Y'all
love-
talked big picture playoff stuff, and then got down to the nitty gritty football stuff.
Well, I mean, if I have Dhawk on, I'm going to ask him questions because I feel like these are all concepts that I explain on here all the time, but he does a better job explaining them. Like, he could be a good coach. You know,
no doubt.
He could be a good coach. Yeah. So we had the availability. So we'll go over some of that stuff. But there was somebody said something earlier in the chat that it was Cody talking about how the EA Sports CFB game is back. That's interesting. I saw earlier what game do they currently have for college? I don't play video games.
There hasn't been one for a decade.
Well, how do they do the simulations?
On the old game, on the NCAA 14 game, the last one that came out.
Those are the simulations they run for the games this year?
I don't know what simulations are you talking about?
You can look at. Whenever I was looking earlier on YouTube, just trying to find any kind of copy of the BYU versus.
I think they're still playing the same NCAA 14 game, the last one that came out.
Something came up and it said simulated game, and it was like an hour long. And I'm so cocky. I sat and watched some of this thing. because it was Texas versus Oklahoma State, and so I was just like, I wanted to see it. Dude, they actually have kind of they still have Catalan in there at safety. They have Cole.
You can update the rosters in the game, so that's what they've been doing with that same 2014 game. Yeah, Cody. Yeah.
They had Justice Finkley starting at the buck over Ethan Burke, but regardless, it's just all stuff. It doesn't matter, but whenever they did that, it was. I think Texas ended up winning like 45-20, something like that in the simulation. Yeah. So that's always good news. Look, man, we'll get to the Sark PC in one second, because while I was there on YouTube, I went and watched as much as I could of the BYU versus Oklahoma State. And I realized real quickly one of the other, because so we know what the number one key to this game is going to be, right? I don't even need to tell you guys. It goes without saying. You stop number 0. You just have to stop him, and you can't let him get off to. You can't. Man, his first run versus BYU was like a 22-yard run. It's like that cannot happen. You can't let that guy get lubed up through the beginning of this game, because it's true what Anwar said yesterday. And I think this is where the Adrian Peterson comparisons really come from with him, right? Mm-hmm. Is the fact that he does, like, he's so much like AP, and that he gets better throughout the course of the game. It's a very distinct thing that you can see from him, right?
Cotton was watching House Divided earlier when Catch called him Olive Garden.
Olive Garden. I thought he was saying Olive Garden as far as I didn't ask Dhawk about a place to eat in Arlington. He lives right by Arlington. I think that guy that said the Flying Fish probably has the best answer so far, but certainly interested to hear from the rest of you guys.
I always eat at the chain places in Arlington. I don't know all the good, really good spots outside of Texas Live, of course, which has like 1 million restaurants.
Is there still just construction that makes that place look like it's out of Mad Max?
There is a lot of construction. They at least finished most of the stuff around the stadiums. Now there's like 2 hotels and Texas Live and all the stadiums. And
the last time I was in Arlington, I guess, was in last spring for the Rivals camp at Arlington Martin, and or was that last year or the year before? It might have been the year before. Yeah, because that was Travell Johnson, and he's already gone and transferred out. And that was where did Travell Johnson go? ULM, right?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Yeah,
I actually just saw him tweet that he was that whenever Terry Bowden that just got fired from ULM. He kind of I'm a bit of a boomer with the emojis and the no hats and stuff, but I do understand like the preloaded shrug emoji that he tweeted out. He's kind of like, what? So I think he's there. I think he's a war hawk now. Regardless, it was him and because DJ Campbell and and Williams were there too. So
right.
Yeah, so that was 2 years ago. Dude, I was there. Dude, some of those like exits off of whatever highway you take off at 35 to get into Arlington, like some of those things are like You know, they have little construction guard things up on and they're thin little things. A big truck, you know, not a big, just like an F-150. You're like, man, I'm pretty close on the sides here, and I make any false moves, I'm going to be in big trouble. So yeah, man, be careful out there driving. Let's see. There's so he's saying Cody saying Whataburger. Greg Jackson saying go to Max Bar and Grill on 20 in South Arlington. Wonder what they have there. Max Bar and Grill.
I'm gonna check that out. I know Babe's Chicken, of course, legendary.
Yep, for sure. Okay, so everybody knows that stopping Ollie Gordon is just that's the nuts, right? That's what you need to do. I talked about it on the Prize Picks thing today. You're not gonna completely stop him. You need to hope to contain him. I feel like if you could do what you did against Taj, he's better than Taj Brooks. Ollie Gordon's better than Taj Brooks. So what did Brooks have? Blake, what did Brooks have? 98 yards, something like that, versus Texas.
Oh, last game.
It was. I mean, it was. I think it just kind of got compiled, but I think it ended up north of 90, unless I'm completely wrong.
I'll pull it up. Just give me a second. That game was such a blowout that I usually take a detailed look at the box score afterwards, but it was 57-7, so I didn't. But he had 19 for 95.
Nice. So he compiled 95 yards, right? It's like that's kind of what happened with it. And you would think to yourself, okay. And it was like I forgot who it was, whether it was Ketchum or Anwar or Jason today in the Modcat or the Prize Picks show was saying that he was not going to take the more on Gordon, because even though he thinks kind of like I think he's good, and you can't really stop him, you can only hope to kind of contain him. I kind of think that containing him would maybe bleed to him getting maybe 100 yards or something like that. I don't think that breaks your back. It was Jason who was saying it. What Jason was saying was that, yeah, but if this is a game where Texas beats the brakes off them, just dusts them like they did versus Texas Tech, he's not going to be able to get there because the game script's going to switch in the second half, and they're not going to be able to keep putting the ball in his belly and give him any real volume. And to that, what I said was, well, what about Tech? I mean, the Tech guy just did it, and Brooks wasn't even as good. So
Tech couldn't throw the ball at all. Baron Morton threw for 88 yards.
Yeah, man, Blake. But here's the thing, dude. I'm not sure that Oklahoma State's going to be able to be two-dimensional either. Here's the thing.
No, but I think they'll be 1.5 dimensional.
Here's the other key to the game. Here's the other way that you attack Oklahoma State. You make Alan Bowman participate and be a giant participant. He's not that good. He just really isn't. I know we've talked about him as a guy that was a good quarterback. And look, I know that people keep bringing up the UCF game. I'll come back to Alan Bowman and how specifically they need to attack him, and specifically what the defensive line needs to be doing. But the UCF game, if you go back and look at that thing, man, they interviewed Ollie Gordon after that thing. What did he have? 12 carries for 25 total yards. And they just said, they interviewed him after the game, and he said, man, everything just went sideways in this game. It was like they were down to their third left guard, and their center was banged up. Their starting center was banged up in the game, and the backup center had to come in. And they were playing in the rain, and they could never get anything going. And so I was thinking about, like, why not go back and look at that UCF game to sort of see what UCF might have done. Like, how did that happen, right? But as I was Googling UCF, Oklahoma State, a bunch of articles popped up before any videos popped up, just saying, like, Ollie Gordon, like, his dominating run comes to a stop versus UCF only 20. He said blah blah blah. So I clicked on it, and it gave me some clarity to say, like, well, you can't recreate what happened with the weather conditions, with the injuries with the kind of major injuries along the offensive line, like a true. It's like what Pro Football Doc at Sports Injury Central, 6score.com. If you guys are into NFL stuff and betting or heck, even NBA or MLB and stuff, there is nobody like the Dhawk, man, who can just look at these injuries and say like, you can just happen on the screen, and he'll be like, oh yeah, that's actually a fifth metatarsal. You can tell there by that. But what he always talks about and what you get in his field view scores is what he calls cluster injuries, right? And that's when you have injuries to like a group that works in coordination with one another. And whenever there's cluster injuries, that's when they really put out their picks. They call them sick picks for Sports Injury Central. They put out their picks based on health, and those picks based on health with the cluster injuries have been hitting like 78% or something. It's like it's something. So those cluster injuries are a big deal, and that's something that Texas can't recreate. What Texas needs to do is just go out and beat Texas. They need to beat Tavondre Sweat. They need to beat Byron Murphy, and they need to get off the field quick because you don't want these series to last a long time to where they got to run Trill Carter out there. Mm-hmm. Honorable mention, all Big 12 Trill Carter by the
Ollie Gordon's got endurance too. He can go full 4 quarters.
And that's like I said, that's the nature of his game. That they don't compare him to Adrian Peterson because no one runs like AP or A. They call him A. Actually, he likes being called AD because he goes all day. It's the same thing with Ollie Gordon. And we'll talk about the other thing as far as Alan Bowman, but we have to get to the super chat. Michael, my business, $1.99 US. We need to press cover again. Yeah, I'm not sure that a guy like Brennan Presley on the outside is the first guy that you want to go press cover though this week, right? That's more. He's not much of a. I understand how you could think that he's a bit of a jitterbug who, you give him option routes in zone. He can he's pretty quick, man. He has explosion. He has explosion out of his route stems. He can find these little soft spots in the zone to where they can get it to him. I certainly get that stuff, but I do think if he's a guy that you kind of go to the press cover with him, he's a little bit shifty, and I just don't think that having complete control of his release and making sure that you have leverage to the inside or the outside and stuff like that matters as much as having to get in a trail technique against this guy. He's pretty fast. He's pretty shifty. There's some things that he can do. So while I agree that I think that we could and should kind of see more of it, I do think it should be personnel specific and matchup specific. And I'm not sure that guy in particular. I didn't focus in on many of the other Oklahoma State wide receivers because I do view him as the biggest threat. I mean, these last what do you have 15 catches 2 games ago that we were talking about? I mean,
Presley.
Yeah, they can definitely hit him with a whole bunch of volume. And I guess anecdotally, when I think about some of these wide receivers that have kind of hurt Texas in the past, it's the ones where you think it's like, golly, they're peppering him with volume. They just like they're getting him so much volume. They found something and they just go and go and go and go.
Bowman throws a lot, man. He just does. I'm looking at his game log: 47 attempts, 43 attempts, 36 attempts, 42 attempts, 34 attempts, 36 attempts, 41 attempts. He gets the ball out a bunch, and a lot of it goes to Presley.
He stinks, man. I hate to say it. Yeah. I hate to say it. And do you know how you can really get to him? Okay, so let's talk about the OSU offensive line. The guards especially are very, very slow-footed and stiff, very, very stiff through their hips. Whenever BYU and what's his name, Kalani Sitake, is he Kalani Sitake? Kalani Sitake. Yeah. Whenever they got this stuff dialed up to do these stunts, right? These end tackle stunts, to where they would have the guard where they have the guard having to handle B gap with this looping end coming in and getting the interior penetration. These guards, dude, their hips are so stiff that they they don't wall off to that side in the same way that you would see a guy like Hayden Connor. He's not even as stiff as these guys. Certainly not a Jake Majors, who's super good swivel, right? Say what you will about him with the rest of the stuff. Like I said, going back to the Alabama game, he's really good at picking up stunts. These guys are not. You need to stunt the bejesus out of them, because Alan Bowman is terrible under pressure. He makes bad decisions. He's not in, and I went to PFF to look this up. I wonder if I still have the page up, because I'd like to just show you.
He throws a lot of picks.
If you can trust PFF, which typically I don't think that you can, but oh gosh, I'm not going to be able to pull it up right now, because I'm going to have to go through a bunch of stuff. But was it the PFF passing pressure? Okay, just let me look at this real quick. So in the pressure versus clean stuff, man, it's taking this is something I might need to just bring
real quick, Alex. His overall quarterback rating, according to ESPN, is a 119.5. So, if anything that doesn't scare you,
look. If you look at everything, Blake, they have this thing called turnover worthy plays. They have this. They can do completion percentage when under pressure. They can do the average depth of target when under pressure. They can do the adjusted completion percentage under pressure. These are things, like I said, I think PFS cockamamie me, but I can't watch every Alan Bowman throw. I'd rather have the information that they have, which I think is probably
Alex proving he's a secret operative for PFF.
Dude, Alan Bowman is like bottom 5 out of like 148 qualifiers across all football in these turnover worthy plays whenever he's pressured. Like, this is stuff, and you can see this stuff easily versus BYU. So that's it, dude. Like, there's one big thing on offense, one big thing on defense. Actually, no, it's just two big things on defense. It's two big things on defense. Because, I guess the big thing on offense would just be like, don't let Presley, or that's on defense too. I'm not worried about the offense in this game. I'm not. I'm not at all. I worry about number 0, and I hope that these dudes loop and that they stunt and that they get these bumbling kind of unbalanced guards on their feet, right? And then that's how you do it. That's an absolute winning game plan right there. Sark met with the media today, so let's talk a little bit about that. Hey, do you know we started off talking about volleyball of all things? Apparently, Texas has a big volleyball game tonight on LHN. It's going to be live.
So it's live at start of the NCAA tournament, if I'm not mistaken.
So, can somebody in the chat, or maybe Blake? I mean, is the volleyball team really good this year?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, they're the defending national champions. They're a really good team. I think they're a 2 seed, if I remember right, hosting Texas A&M tonight in the tournament, I think. Man,
when I was in college, my fraternity brother, he was not for the varsity volleyball team, but for the good club volleyball team. He was one of their student coaches. It was the awesomest thing ever, because the volleyball team would just come out parties over at our house. It was great. It was great. Yeah. But let's see. So yeah, well, look, congrats to them coming in. So Sam Kahn asked about whether he had the vision or the plan kind of coming in, kind of a big picture question. He asked Sark as far as a timetable. Like, were you thinking that? Were you thinking Big 12 championship your first year? Did you have a timetable? Was this always kind of like by year 3 you do it? And Sark said, well, it's good. I just found this interesting. I thought it was the interesting thing he said that he said you never know really. He said you have an idea of the players on the roster, and you've seen the team and stuff like this, right? You kind of some of the players in recruiting and all the rest. Jeff Collins asked what fraternity. I was in Phi Kappa Psi. Right across the street from we were kind of sandwiched between. We used to be at 24th and Longview. They got a big, beautiful house now, man. But we were right between ATO and Delts, 24th and Longview. Anyway, he said you have an idea, but you don't know about the depth. You don't know about the bottom of the roster guys. You're not exactly sure about all this stuff. And he said that he called, right after he got the good job, one of the first people he called was Pete Carroll, right? And Pete Carroll's like, "Oh, good, cool, awesome, man. Like, well, what do you think about the team?" And Sark said, like, he's pretty, they're pretty good, but I may need to adjust some things. I'm not sure that the exact personnel is here for what I need to do. And what Pete Carroll's like, no, man. He's like, you can do what they did before, and you can adjust the things to do what they want to do, and it's like you're going to get the exact same results. Like, and why are you here? Because those results weren't good, right? He says if you do things your way, it might not work. It could go bad, but there's a good chance, man. You're a good coach. You can possibly get better results by doing it your way. So I thought it was interesting. He basically was saying that, like, that first season was him just kind of doing it his way, come hell or high water, and it resulted in these excruciating losses. It's just like it was unbearable to him. He's like, clearly he probably had to be thinking to himself along the way. He's like, man, should I go on whole hog with the whole, even though this doesn't fit the personnel that I have and all the rest. But he said that. He said, but in the end, he said with the culture, but most specifically, he said with recruiting, especially what you've seen with the offensive line. Sark even mentioned that. He said with the offensive line, what you've seen there, you see the results shift in the right direction. He said
Kyle Flood changed the trajectory of this program, maybe more than anybody. I mean, obviously Sark hired him, and Sark is the overseer of all of it. But Kyle Flood, man, what he has done, just can't be stated enough.
It kind of reminds you of all the good stuff that Val Garcia has done for his clients in DFW. I mean, he's been selling people's houses for free. People who work in education, who work in the ministries, he's going to sell your house for free. Val Garcia is. Can you believe Val Garcia? Look at, he's smiling like a guy that knows even if Alabama wins, they're going to be dragging Texas with them. Look at Val. Oh, Val Garcia. Hey, if you tell Val Garcia that you heard about him on Football with Friends, even if you don't work in education, even if you don't work in the ministries, he's going to sell your house for half price. Guys, we're talking 5, 10, 15K, 20K in savings anywhere in the DFW area, anywhere. Arlington, with all their bad roads and their cockamamie restaurants. I mean, you can go there. Frisco, where did D-Rob say he lived? Blake, where was that? Carrollton, Texas. All these spots. Look, Val Garcia is going to be your guy, and he's going to save you a ton of money. He's one of us. He's a avid viewer of the show, loves the Longhorns, and wants to work with you. Wants to show you why he's top 25% in Dallas. He certainly is for a reason. One of us. Sell your house for half price and or free. And if you know anybody in DFW who's going to be selling their house anytime soon, if you know anybody who is just looking into the market, maybe just testing the market, and they're in DFW, say like, hey man, my guy Alex, he always talks about this Val Garcia. I'm telling you, Val is awesome. He's a super, super great guy, and he's going to sell your house for at least half price, if not free. There's a QR code there you can scan. You can also call him at 469-647-8729. His email is valgarcia@valenrealty.com. And then valenrealty.com is the website. He is Val Garcia. He is just the man. Val Garcia, Valen Realty. We have in the chat, Mr. Jam game time with the threes. Any Thursday night props you like, Alex? You know what? I haven't looked at Prize Picks yet, but we always end the show with putting in a Prize Picks entry. So we'll certainly get one tonight for Cowboys
Seahawks. Yep. That's a good one.
Yeah, it'd be good. I think the Cowboys might smoke them. They're on a heater right now.
Usually when the Cowboys are on a heater, they're due for bad game. So we'll see.
I'm not sure. It feels like a different team to me this year, Blake.
I hope so. Dak has definitely stepped up his game over the past month or so.
I hope that we can get some more likes on this show.
Oh yeah,
you guys complete. It's free.
Y'all are liking the show, right?
It's like Val Garcia. Like he'll sell your house for free. You can like the show. It's completely free. So like the show, subscribe to the channel. It really, really helps us out. And if you guys have any questions, like I said, I'm done with the offense. I'm done with the defense. I forgot to say it in the rundown But you guys, if you have questions, free to answer them here for the whole rest of the show. So anything you got, any questions you might have. Greg Jackson saying volleyball got screwed in conference awards also. Only 2 players were first team. So this was Tom G's complaint. Tom G had the super
There were
chat
a lot
yesterday.
of people. Yeah, Tom G was one of the first ones. There have been a lot of people over the past couple of days talking about this.
It's these petty coaches, man. These cockamamie Big 12 coaches. I hate the Big 12. I can't stand it. I can't wait for Texas to be out of here, man. Kenny R saying, did y'all see that Rodgers take on Dak? I did not see it.
No.
Dude, I started out hating Aaron Rodgers. I've gotten to where I generally kind of like a whole lot of his takes. So, we'll see. I don't know if I wouldn't have agreed with that one though. Okay.
Apparently he's praising him. It was a positive comment.
We'll get back to my Sark availability thing, but Blake, can you pull up the tweet from the CFB recruiting that we shared earlier in our Slack with the kid for the wide receiver from South Carolina? What was it, Juice Wells or something like that? 2022 first team All SEC.
Yeah, Antoine Wells, Juice Wells.
Yeah,
I don't know. Do you remember where that tweet was posted in our general?
What was it not? Was it not posted? I think
no, it was. We just have a million channels. Oh, here it is. Okay.
I don't know if it was in the private one or whether it was in.
No, I found it from CFB recruiting.
Yeah, because this is South Carolina, right?
Correct. Well, yeah, originally from James Madison, transferred to South Carolina.
So if it's South Carolina, we have Spencer Rattler is leaving, right? And you would think to yourself, okay, like the word with this guy is that that he's making good NIL money right now, right? So why would he be leaving? Texas has already said, and the report here from CFB Recruiting, who even knows I don't even know who that is. But they're saying there's rumors about Texas. So clearly it's going to come across.
That's according to Gamecock Central, which is like one of the beats that covers South Carolina.
Okay, so there's rumors of Texas, and there's going to be more about this in the war room. But in general, I think I can say this, right, Blake? I mean, Ketch has said this on his show, I'm sure. Texas has maybe let a lot of Texas is not breaking out. They're not busting open the old piggy bank this year for middling level wide receivers, right? It's gonna take a big name dude, right? It's gonna take an A.D. Mitchell type of entrant to the portal for Texas to, go out and try and really slap around the money as far as this goes for NIL at the wide receiver.
It's not acting like Juice Wells is a bum though.
I'm not saying he is. I was saying all that to say maybe this is the level of player who you could think that they might say like, okay, well, we might give him a little bit of NIL money. But my question would be, he's making NIL money right now, and this is my Spencer Rattler conspiracy theory. Okay, so since Rattler's leaving, why do we see guys like Jordan Addison leave Pitt to go to USC? Yes, for NIL. Yes, for more exposure. But dude, he lost Kenny Pickett, right?
Yes, correct.
He wanted to go to a stable quarterback situation with a good coach, good continuity there with it, all the rest of it. If this player, and I haven't watched his film. I've heard of him, seen him. You know what I'm saying? It's one of these things in case
you weren't aware, he missed most of this year because he had a foot injury, like right before the season, I think, and then tried to play a few games, then couldn't go after 3 games.
Right. And foot injuries are always scary, to be sure. Right. So like that's something for sure. Especially for a guy like him that's such a from what I have seen of him, very, very, very quick.
I'm telling you, man. Okay, 2021, 83 receptions,
very good change of direction.
Yards.
But I'm not sure he's from the word I've gotten just from kind of looking up what people are saying about him and things like that. People are saying that he's not necessarily a speed burner, like never was. So maybe that's something where the foot, I think with the change of direction stuff, though, that foot, the major foot stuff kind of hurts with that too, right? Regardless, here's the point. We're still waiting to find. Like, are people now just saying Quinn Ewers is coming back? Is that the general feeling among the educated fan base or the hyper educated fan base that we have here around this show? Like just the super, like the theory of the super informed. I would think that the general fan might say, like, oh, we're still waiting to hear back from Quinn. But
I think most think he's coming back.
I know that the hyper informed have their own solidly made opinions at all times, and they're very vocal about them. And see, right. And so I think right now the general consensus among the hyper informed in the fan base is that Quinn, they kind of think Quinn's coming back. Right.
He was not a finalist for the Manning Award, Alex, which is the top. That means he was outside the top 10 quarterbacks in college football this year.
Okay.
It's just something to note. Like,
was Spencer Rattler a member of that list?
No, I can read the list off. Carson Beck, Jaden Daniels, Dylan Gabriel, Drake May, J.J. McCarthy, Jalen Milroe, Bo Nix, Michael Penix, Jordan Travis, and Caleb Williams. It's hard to find a spot for Quinn. I was
kind of trying in my head to put one together. God, Carson Beck, sure, like that was a big question mark coming into this year, wasn't it? Golly, that's some good found money for sure.
But back to your point about Juice Wells, I think what you were getting to is that he's moving because he has the chance to really elevate his draft stock by playing with Quinn Ewers at Texas.
There's not going to be reports coming out. And look on Andres. I'm not sure how it is. I'm sorry if I'm Andres. I've been down this road a million times. I'm not necessarily sure. I can understand what you're saying. I think he can. I think that path does not come without risks, though. He needs to come back. It's like a guarantee he's going to make all this money. A guarantee that he's going to elevate himself to a draft stock. I mean, what you make at pick number, say, if you get up to pick 20, what you make between being pick 20 and pick 40, it's like it really is not that big a deal. It truly isn't. Mm-hmm. So I get it. He can make more money, but it's beside the point. The point really is. I'm sorry. I wasn't sure what that is. The point really is, if there's something to be said for these rumors, if he's already making the NIL money, my theory is he's leaving because his quarterback's leaving. And he wants to be with an experienced quarterback who has continuity with his play caller and all the rest. And it's a kind of just come here and fit in kind of thing. And if the things do pick up with a player like this, you have to think that certainly is still out there, still up in the open. There has not been an announcement that is, according to Anwar's sources, according to all the rest, it's like the decision has not been made, right? So we're still kind of waiting on something. But
still, from Juice Wells' perspective, let's say Quinn leaves, he's catching balls from Arch Manning. So either way, he's elevating his current setup, which is his quarterback is leaving at South Carolina, and I don't know what they got lined up behind him. Maybe a portal guy.
I don't think that there's this kind of gravity to it, to where the rumors are already flying from one of the beats that covers it, that it's Texas, unless it's a situation where it's Quinn. You're going from one unknown to another, and you know what I'm saying? If that's he's Arch Manning, or if it's like, who knows? I mean, I don't think it would be Malik Murphy, but I mean, it could be Malik Murphy. It's like you don't even know who your quarterback's going to be. So I do think if traction picks up with this, it means that Quinn Ewers is coming back. That's the theory. Well, we have more of Sark's availability to get to. Blake has a cockamamie thing he has pulled up here. We're going to talk about that thing too next.
I mean, just enjoy. Honestly, it's a holiday weekend. Take the next couple of days, kick your feet up, and just enjoy the fact it's an 11-1 Texas team. They won all the games, really, they were supposed to win this year. Like, this has forever been a program that at times has stubbed its toes in the occasional game just like this. This completes an 11-1 season. You're in the Big 12 championship game, and other than a last-minute loss to Oklahoma, you damn near run the entire regular season schedule off the table. Kudos to Steve Sarkisian, his coaching staff, and the players on this team. They deserve a big attaboy, not just for tonight, but I see someone has a 30,000 foot question here. From 30,000 feet, it's a hell of a win. It's probably the most emphatic statement they've made all season long. Your mark and the fact that they put the Big 12 commissioner on Godzillatron at the end of the game and show his remarks, and then you see the team's response to them playing the remarks where the entire team was basically on the field. Chad described it as Lionel Richie's All Night Long video. It did. It just looked like there's random people dancing on the field. But I tell you what, I will remember the scene of the end of this game for a long, long time. Let's get some super chats. Justin leads us off. Finally got to see all gas, no brakes. Justin, they were up 50-7, and they were throwing the ball on 4th down in the last drive of the game.
Oh man, it's gonna be fun. Oh, it's gonna be fun here on Football with Friends. But it's gonna be fun on Saturday if Texas is throwing the ball up 50 on Coach of the Year.
I hope Arch Manning is throwing touchdown passes on Saturday. That'd be pretty great.
Coach of the Year, Mike Gundy. So it was funny what Chip Brown asked today about Alfred Collins. So he asked if he could benefit from another year, and this is something that I've talked about ad nauseum here on the show. I think it would benefit Texas for sure. My only question would be, now, does the Senior Bowl stuff let him know that there's a couple things? Okay, so Dhawk was on here on Tuesday, and he said his understanding was that you had to be a top 3 round guy to get a Senior Bowl invite, and that isn't exactly right. I think that they would like that to be the case, and they certainly aim to have those guys. But I heard Jim Nagy say on that Outkick interview just a few days ago that they're cut. I think it's probably different by position, right? I think it's different by position, and there just aren't that many defensive linemen to where you can only take day 2 and day 1 and day 2 defensive linemen, because a lot of these guys are, that are going to go in that range are players that are coming out early. They're leaving as juniors. Now, that's not as big a deal now, right? That is not as big a deal now, but historically it always has been. Now the underclassmen can play in the game, of course. Golly, something on my back here. Is that a bug? Now that they're underclassmen and stuff, weird. Gosh, it really does feel like I got something. I just went outside. I get freaked out every time I go outside because I just got a bunch of trees cut down. My yard looks completely different. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so fifth round and better as far as their projections for defensive line. So Alfred Collins could reasonably be projected by us right now to have at least a 5th round grade by the NFL, based on what he said. Now, we know he's got the 83-inch wingspan. We know via the Tyree Wilson principle from last year, the guys with 83-inch wingspans get overdrafted, right? So maybe given the flashes he's shown, he could be somebody that could be able to sort of find his way to, a good week in Mobile, which I don't think would necessarily be completely out of the picture, because here's the thing: is Alfred Collins looks better in practices than he does in actual games, because during practices it's not a consistent play after play after play after play kind of thing. It's the things where you just kind of take turns, and then it's your turn, and you can do your flashy stuff, and then you're off for a while, and you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. So and so much of the film that these guys watch from these Senior Bowl practices are these OLDL one-on-ones. And those are drills that are automatically set up for the offensive line to fail. And we've talked about the reasons why, but the defensive lineman can look really good in these spots. And you got a guy that looks like Tarzan, the same way that Alfred Collins does. He could elevate his stock in a game like the Senior Bowl, right? What Sark said about him is he said, if you'd asked me the first couple of years, it was never about his physical ability. It was about his consistency. He said, I think he's really closed the gap on that this year. Unfortunately, he's had some nicks along the way. And I'm kind of paraphrasing here. This is just what I've written down. I think he's going to have an opportunity to play beyond college football when he decides to do that. Hopefully, we can get to a really good decision for him, but he has an opportunity. This is important. He has an opportunity like Sweat and Murphy did last year of course, with Morwood, Jomo, with Keandre, Coburn leaving, and those guys getting to really take the mantle and take that for themselves and see if they can take it and run with it, which they did, right? He's saying that Collins could have that kind of opportunity because make no mistake, he would, as much as we've said, he's been on a milk carton at times this year, and he has. Sark's even saying it. He's saying he's been inconsistent. He's closed the gap on it this year, but he's been inconsistent. You make no mistake that he is the centerpiece of the defensive line next year. If when he comes back, barring some sort of miracle, random transfer portal D lineman that is disgruntled somewhere, but is like a former 5-star and completely wrecks shop, and so something like that could always happen. But as far as what's in the cupboard, it's like Alfred Collins would represent an awesome guy to get back for Texas, especially if you consider the fact from the glass half full scenario of him being a player who he doesn't need to take a T'Vondre Sweat leap, but he could take a little, what do they say, like a little Mother May I kind of step, like just something like that, right? And it's like that could represent a guy that could be. I mean, he's basically an average player right now. I mean, we went through the whole deep dig, last year, or the deep dig from the last dating back to 2015. He's right smack dab in the middle of the average stuff. He moves up just a little bit. You're certainly getting a player that's an upgrade on Trill Carter. He's an upgrade on Vernon Broughton. Certainly an upgrade on Aaron Bryant. Sadir Mitchell. We've only seen 10 snaps out of him this year. He's played 10 snaps. He's made 3 tackles. So I think that there's still something interesting there to see with him. He's another mammoth of a man that could maybe take a T'Vondre Sweat kind of development path just based on his size and the super, super, super small sample that we've seen this year. I think he says a lot about Sadir Mitchell that Aaron Bryant doesn't do anything in games and consistently gets in ahead of him. Maybe there's stuff in practice he's not doing right. But he says that at the end of the day, decisions are decisions. And he said a lot of times with declaring, you don't have to worry about that until January. And he said, I actually talked with Alfred about that this week. He's been talking about this week with him. He's saying, look, you don't have to decide this stuff until January. He said that he hopes that he being Collins and his mom and Sark and everybody there in his orbit can come together and just make the best decision for him. But clearly, man, I mean, the way he answered that question, it made you think. He's like, I'm pitching this dude. He can come back and he can make a step like Sweat. Like, look how much money Sweat made.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I don't think any of us last season would have said that T'Vondre Sweat is going to be what he became. And so if something similar could happen with Alfred Collins, that's it could be a big deal. Thomas Jones from the American Statesman asked if it's frustrating to have to kind of advocate for the team with all the cockamamie CFP stuff, and he asked him if he's looking forward to the 12 teams. And Sark said the exact same thing I've been saying about the 12 teams. It's like, yeah, but then you're just going to get coaches advocating to be the 12th one in. It's the same thing. There's always going to be something. Of course,
it's the same thing, but at that point, the 12th and 13th and 14th ranked teams, at least they're less deserving. Right. You guys have 3 losses. Like,
it doesn't feel it doesn't feel completely unjust, right? Like I could foresee things happening to Texas that are legit unjust. That would make people lose complete faith in whatever institution this college football playoff committee decides to become in our lives. People would just lose complete faith in it. Kind of like they have in the NCAA, right?
Right.
Like what I tell Catch, it's like Ronald Reagan said, I'm from the NCAA. I'm here to help. Like those are the most terrifying words that you could ever hear. You know what I mean? You don't ever want to hear. You don't want those guys coming to help. He did say that. He says that as far as the politicking end of it, he said that He said, "I'm kind of counting on you guys to politic for us." He's like,
the Texas media.
He's like,
pulled out the Texas.
He's like, he's like, you guys know about it. Like, you guys more than anybody. Like, you guys know about our stats. You know about our red zone defense. You know about our third down defense. You know about how we beat a top 25 team with a backup quarterback. You know what I mean? It's like,
Alex, why aren't you parading for Texas?
It's like I thought it was funny. It's not necessarily the I don't think I can understand what he's saying, right?
Yeah.
And it's like what I was saying yesterday. Like, it's at some point, since this decision is going to come so close following the it isn't like there's going to be 2 days worth of punditry of people saying
he can't make his pitch until this championship is over. Like, he's got to go win this, and then he can start his actual media rounds and everything. But I get what he's saying, because he can't make the Mac Brown pitch until this Saturday's game is over. So he wants the Texas media to come out now. Like, hey, guys, help us out here.
Well, the good news for him is I feel like there's a ton of media in the national media coming out and just saying this stuff. And it feels like the only detractors that you really hear to Texas being in, or Texas at least getting a fair shot from this committee in certain scenarios that truly, truly feel like, it's like, I try to be as unbiased an observer as I can. Clearly, it's not always possible. It's not always easy, but I try to. And like, even in doing so, I there's no way I could justify not having Texas in some of these scenarios where they say Texas could get left out. It's just like there's not, and it feels like there's a lot of people who are kind of doing that right now, and it's good to hear it, and hopefully through tomorrow, and then in the pregame, like in the pregame stuff for the Friday game, the stuff with the Saturday morning stuff before the Texas game, there'll surely be a whole lot of talk about this. He told Matt Berry on ESPN, "I hope you all have me back on after we win on Saturday, and I can make my arguments." Matt Berry said, "We will 100% have you back on Sunday, Sark." So there you go. So Sark is out there. Yeah, I mean, he's living up to his word. He's out there politicking.
Yeah, and the great Matt Berry helping him out.
Yeah. Let's see. Danny Davis finally with a second to last question. He asked about injuries. Also asked about, I think he kind of asked about maybe kind of guys who got snubbed, maybe how he got snubbed with the Big 12. Said Golden asked about that too. But he just said he didn't. We already talked about Sanborn. He said he didn't understand about Sanborn. I think Sanborn has been good, but if you look at some of the metrics, the BYU, is it the BYU punter who won?
Tech was the McNamara at Tech was first team, I think.
So and McNamara, so the Tech punter, but the BYU punter has better stats than him as far as the return percentage, as far as the pinning percentage, all the rest. But McNamara, I believe, had the longest average distance.
Mm.
But Sanborn was third. Regardless, I don't know about punters. That's why I had to go look up the stats. But with Jade Barron, you guys heard me and Dhawk talk about this. By the way, man, we love having Dhawk on, and I think he'll continue to come on if we can just get people to go follow him on his Twitter. If we could put that back,
I'll put that back in the chat
at that _boy_ Dhawk. He's a great guest to have on. Anything else? Onwar asked about the practice squad. I guess the whole practice squad or the whole scout team gets to come to this.
Yeah, the whole team gets to go. They don't all get to suit up, obviously, but the whole team gets to travel, which is cool.
The one other thing was from Kirk Bowles. He said, with all this committee stuff, is this telling you that this whole thing about having to play Ohio State and Michigan for these next 4 years, is this telling you that you shouldn't be doing that? These kinds of games, like this Alabama game, for example, this year, these kinds of games, they don't really matter. And these teams the Georgias of the world that don't schedule good out of conference teams and all the rest get thought of so highly. And Sark said, he said what he had to say. He has to kind of grin and bear it, because if it was me, I'd say, God, I wish we could get those things off the schedule. I wish they were off the schedule. I know they're going to be good games and fun games for fans and us analysts to kind of get hyped up about, but I would want them off the schedule. I'd say it. I'm here to win championships. That those things pose really big risks to me to getting there. But
can I play the devil's advocate to that point as far as keeping the games?
Well, Sark did, but yeah.
Go ahead and say what Sark did, and then I'll make my point.
Okay, so what Sark said is he said I don't look at it like that. I look at what a great opportunity is for our players, and knowing they're coming to Texas, they're getting to play Michigan every year, they're getting to play the Ohio State University every year. They're excited about that. They can continue to recreate putting together a quality team that can, if they can continue to recreate putting together a quality team that can play on the road, and then you can, like, he's like, if you like this year, it's like you get that big win to start the season, then you're gonna have, like, you're going into the SEC. I mean, it's tough, but that's a lot of confidence going into an SEC schedule that you're saying like, man, we can hang with anybody. You know, you kind of early on. He said, like, just look at this year. Look at the value that he said the team changed after winning in Alabama.
That was going to be my exact point, Alex. I hadn't heard Sark's comments on that yet, but that was my exact point, because I'm not sure this team goes the entire season with only one loss. If they just don't play anybody in the non-conference, that win was everything for that team. You just saw them after that game. They were glowing. They were just a different team, and they played with such confidence coming out of that game.
This is a good point by Greg Jackson. And shout out to everybody in the Specs chat, man. Thanks so much for being here with us today. He's saying with a 12-team playoff, even a close loss in a huge game like that, that's a great point. That's another great point.
Much different than the 4-team playoff, because I would agree with you on or whoever is arguing for getting rid of the games in the 4-team playoff system, because clearly it's hindering Texas this year. But in the 12-team system, it totally changes, and that loss does not hurt you at all, really.
Let's go to here. I'm going to roster watch to our premium downloads and just look at this game. So Dallas Cowboys are 9.5-point favorites. 81% of the tickets are on the Cowboys, 80% of the money. So everybody sees the Cowboys kind of going big here. I'm going to look at the matchup tool just real quick. And I'll pull it up so we can just all see it together. You guys are all used to my my blue and red color coding as opposed to green and red everybody else does, because I'm so darn colorblind. All right, so Dallas here and the Seahawks is facing the number 4 matchup for opposing running backs and a top 12 matchup for opposing wide receivers. So this is obviously great for Tony Pollard. This is good for CeeDee Lamb to a certain degree, probably Brandon Cooks, who's been seeing a lot more action lately. Boy, Michael Gallup sure has fallen off the face of the earth lately, hasn't he, Blake? And the Seahawks facing Dallas. This is a bottom. So only 26 teams this week with 6 teams on bye. So the 21st is basically the 6th worst this week, and it's the 3rd worst for wide receivers. So probably a fade on Geno, a fade on Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf if they have, if their projections are where you would normally project those guys to be. Let's see. I'll just go to Prize Picks now. If I go to Prize Picks here on this thing, will it just change with the? Did that just change to Prize?
Yep. Yeah.
All right. Oh, now it won't, because I got to log. It always brings up this second page.
It opens up the new tab. Yeah. I don't know why it does that.
Yeah. Okay. So let me just do this. All right. Geno Smith, 231. No, thank you. Dak. Let's see. Where's this rush yards for Pollard? 63.5. Doesn't he seem like he's going to get better than that?
Oh, I think so. Oh man, he's
picking up though, man. He's picking up.
I
know Rico Dowdle was a little bit banged up last game though. He's going to score a touchdown. What's his if his fantasy score is more or less of 12.5, I'm taking the more. 15. Yeah. Oh man, what is CeeDee? 18.5. God, that thing escalated quickly with CeeDee. It was a great matchup though. He's going to get 18.5 here. He's going to get there. Dak continues to just smash, man. Right? Dak is smashing right now.
He's been killing it.
It's a great matchup. We're going to take the yards with Dak and correlate these two. CeeDee's fantasy score, Dak's passing yards. I don't think that Zach Charbonnet, even with no Ken Walker, how many reception? Maybe there's a reception total for Charbonnet. It doesn't look like it. Oh yeah, there is 3.5. Man, they're not going to be able to run the ball effectively, and they're going to throw Zach Charbonnet. They're going to target him 5 times, aren't they? That's what's going to happen. It's going to be hard to get it to these guys. This is going to be a trailing game script. Charbonnet gets in there. He catches more than 3.5 balls. So that's the story we're telling ourselves for that. Does Cody have anything in this thing?
No.
Is Cody even in here? Gosh. What about the passing attempts? Because Dak just throws and throws and throws, but that's right on the nose right there. What do they have, Geno? 34.5. I mean, if it's a trailing game, here's the thing though. I'm worried about Geno's health to some degree too. Right? What is his fantasy score? I might be fading Geno here. 14.5 is pretty low. Gosh, but I mean, San Francisco Rams versus good defenses, he's been really, really stinking. I can't believe he put up 15.86 versus Cleveland. Dude, I kind of think this is a dusting. I'm going to go with Geno with less. DK Metcalf, less. Tyler Lockett. I'm not going to mess with Lockett. Man, what did they do here? The payouts is shift. These are too sharp.
Well, Cody said 1 sec. He's working on some plays.
Okay, well, we'll see if he likes the ones that I've already put up. But obviously, Prize Picks likes them because they've taken my odds down to only 7. They've moved them from 10x to 7x. I need to place another one here. Is there a combo? No.
I was checking on the hockey plays, but I don't see any ones that I like I did on Tuesday.
I already have a Pollard one. Let's see. Usually with the field goals, Brandon Aubrey's probably gonna. Isn't he gonna? Isn't he gonna? I don't know.
Okay, here we go. We got some stuff from Cody. Charbonnet, less receptions.
Less.
Tolbert, less yards. Metcalf, less receptions. Dowdle, more rush.
Dowdle, more rushing. What does he have on? What about Okay, Dowdle more with the rushing. What is Dowdle's rushing? 18.5. That is a bad click. What's the other ones?
Charbonnet, less receptions. Tolbert.
All right, I'm gonna go with what Cody says about Sharp. Okay, Tolbert.
Is that receiving yards or reception? I assume receptions REC.
Yeah, Tolbert. Less than 20.5. He's probably not going to get 20.5, is he? All right.
Full send.
Payout shift. Man, only 19x.
Killing you.
It is killing me, man. I wonder what they think is so sharp here. I mean, is this Tolbert play is not correlated with the Dak stuff? If I get Dak out of here, will it get me back to a normal flex play? No, it's only 8x. All right, I'm going to get Dak out of there. But anyway, this is what I'm going with here. That's a lot, man. That's a lot to hit for just 160, though, dog. Put something with Cody sent. Tolbert lower, Metcalf lower receptions, Dowdle higher. Do I already have Dowdle in there? All right, let's go with Dowdle. Oh, that was the rush. Dowdle, rushing. Okay, less. Gosh, only 20.
He said more on the Dowdle rushing.
Oh, more on the Dowdle. 22x. Well, geez, golly. Well, I guess it's a sharp lineup at least. Let's see if we can make a quick $440 here, Blake. What do you say?
Yeah, give it a shot.
All right. Well, I gotta say, great show today. Thanks so much to Dhawk for being on there. Make sure to go follow him at Dhawk. If you have questions for me, if you'd like to engage with the show, send any photos, send any information, interested to hear about sponsoring the show, stuff like that, you can always get me Alex at rosterwatch.com. Thanks again to everybody who'll be watching this later. If you can please just remember to like the show. It means the whole world to us to get all the likes that we can, and certainly appreciate all the views picking up and all the new people watching Football with Friends. It is indeed always fun as hell. So for Blake, I'm Alex.